thank everyone for this wonderful gathering for the STEM 16.0, the consecutive program, which is going to be developed the skill development for both faculty as well as the student. And this program is being initiated around this particular month is one of the remembrance of what 1 year we have been crossed over in the Center of Skill Development, which is initiated by the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, which give more kinds of inputs to faculties as well as the students in what way we can able to enrich our knowledge in the name of technology as well as in the communication, especially in this pandemic situation. So on behalf of the department, I immense pleasure to invite our chairman and as well as our vice chairman, engineer E.V. Kumaran sir, and respected register Dr. R. Sathisilan sir, our motivated and respected principal Dr. R. Ravichandran sir, to be back of this particular program and motivated us to do more kind of initiatives, especially the skill development, which is mainly needed for the teaching learning process, especially for the departments, which is morely crucially needed. So in today's session, we have different kinds of topics we are going to share with the students. And today, I to be one of the topic to know about how secure are we, especially in the Indian countries or whatever the social medias that we are especially using now, and what kind of technology we are at the background. And we are using the technology, but we don't know that is the technology that actually we are going for it. So we are going to discuss about how secure are we, and followed by Ms. Abhirami from final year CSE will talk about the blockchain, which is also coming under the part of the security system. Followed by Ms. Hema Darshini will talk about the Li-Fi, and Ms. Vijaya Ragini from second year of CSE will be talk about the communication network design. So I am happy to receive all these kinds of students from final year, third year, and as well as second year to be part of this program for the successive event and make this to be one of the consecutive one. So one thing I want to share on this particular day, especially this is the 1 year completion of the STEM program that what we have been initiated actually. Every pain gives a lesson actually, and every lesson change a person. So this particular program is given an opportunity for me to change how technology we can able to strong and how we can able to learn different kinds of aspects. So this particular program give a lot of information to the peoples, a lot of information to the students in what way the students can able to enrich their communication skills as well as the knowledge. And this particular STEM program definitely will give a platform for the students to share their ideas, to know about in what way the students can able to know their ability, and as well as the faculty to know about how the skills can able to develop in the name of a teaching learning process. So for everyone, this particular skill development program will be one of the good platform, I think so. So one basic thing what the most of the people will tell that we want a positive attitude actually. That is very important when we want to take any kind of a program or any kind of objective. So positive attitude brings much gratitude actually. So think positive, be positive, and speak positive, and do it every day and make it as a habit. So when you take about the positive attitude, whether today we have this much of students are being joined over in this session, and when we started, we get some kind of hurdles, but that hurdles we face it and we have crossed that hurdles and we are successfully now going through this particular consecutive program on every month. We have been taking some kind of initiatives, and for that, I just appreciate the students' participation, especially in this particular program, where they have been come from forward and make their interest in the knowledge basis as well as in the name of the communication, how we can able to enrich their communication especially. And this platform will definitely will be one of the milestone for the students ever in their mind to know about that the institution as well as the department has given some kind of platform on how the development inbuilt within the students can able to come forward. So on behalf of all the students, the young minds, those who have been available on this today session, and the faculties, and on behalf of the management, so I congratulate all the students, those who have been participated for the past 1 year in this particular program. And there are a lot of people we have started with these initiatives, and a lot of alumni have been involved over in this particular program. They have done a lot over, especially in the name of the channel while they have been developing, and while they have been framework, what kind of slides the framework can able to have. So all kind of discussion has been gone through for the past 1 year, and we come with one particular good solution with the name of the term called as a STEM, which what the platform for the students as well as the faculty. They can talk about the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and as well as some good communication skills where the students can able to enrich. So with this, I start over my presentation on how secure are we, and we will take over the session now. So this is one of the crucial which is needed, especially in this pandemic situation, because especially when this pandemic situation, what we face it for the past 1.5 years, we have been taking everything in the name of e-learning, and all the systems have been taken in the online. Most of the applications have been developed, and most of the transactions has been taken over through the online. That may be a banking transactions, and take more kinds of initiatives, especially in the name of wallets like Google Pay or Paytm. So all these things needed one particular question mark is what is in what way these are all the systems what we are passing now, or what are the systems that we are using now to be secure or not. So on this particular topic only, I'm going to talk on this technical system 16.0, how secure are we actually. So before that, I introduce myself. I am Dr. M. Jyotish Kumar, of head of the Department of CAC and convener of the program. So how secure? So that is very important, because these are all the basic things that is especially known that because 24/7 we are alive with the social medias, and we have been using different kinds of applications like a Facebook, or it may be a Twitter, or it may be a WhatsApp, or it may be a LinkedIn, or a Skype. So every social media will put one question mark for us that whatever the social media we have been using now, whether it is being secured or not. Anyway, the corporate or the developers will provide different kinds of security, but in what way we can able to understand, because as a professional who belongs to the Department of Computer Science Engineering as well as the Information Technology, we want to know at the background of the background of this kind of application, what kind of security is being available, whether this security is being related to our curriculum, whether in any curriculum subjects we have been crossing over the security aspects related to this any kind of application which is developed with the name of the social media. So when you take about how social our social media has been secure, so whatever the social media we have been, we want to identify whether this social media has been secure or not. So that is very important aspect that we want to carry out. So what we are going to take on today, in the sense, we are going to take some kind of a basic input like a social media, and we are going to discuss about how the social medias that whatever we are using now is being secured, and what kind of the different kinds of an algorithm. That is very important actually, because algorithm is one of the framework for each and kind of an every steps and procedures that whatever we are going to follow, that will start with an algorithm, what the first you want to do, what is the second you want to do, and so on. So when you take about the social media that has been available with different kinds of a social media, and we want to know about how secure we are. So before going to know about how secure we are in the social media, we want to know one particular concept which is especially needed in the name of security, which what we call as an hashing. So hashing is one of the algorithm. It is an one-way mathematical functions that create a non-reversible fingerprint of a fixed length for a piece of a text. So especially when you go for password, so generally all the Facebook account, or it may be an also Instagram account, whatever it may be, we generally have it credential with one credential like an username and password. So when you enter your password, how this password will be taken by the social media? That may be a Facebook, or that may be an Instagram, or that may be a LinkedIn profile, or that may be a Twitter. How this password is being taken? Whether the password is taken as what you entered, or is taken in the different interpretation. That is very important. So one thing as a professional, we want to think one aspect is when you are entering the password, especially in the social media, the password is not taken as you were entered. It is taken with the concept to be called as an hash, or we call it as an hashing algorithm. So hashing algorithm is at the back of the password, where the password is not being directly taken to the server of any kind of a social media. It is taken with the name of an hashing algorithm. So if, for example, if in a piece of text what you produce over it, and whatever the piece of information that you pass it through the password, that is taken to be as a compression method, which what we call as a message digest. So when you take about this particular hashing algorithm, this hashing algorithm is at the background of a password, where password is not directly taken to the server. The password is being taken to the Facebook server, or it may be taken to the Instagram, or it may be taken to a Google server. So everywhere it is being taken not as a password what you enter, it taken as an hash, which what we call as a message digest. So this is the one basic thing that every student want to know, how your password is taken by the social media. So the social media taken your password not as a password what you entered. It taken as a piece of information which is not reversible with the name to be called as an hashing. So no mathematical functions or key is being exist to reverse the fingerprint back to the original value, which means that whatever the hash value that you've been get through the text, whatever you've been entered, okay, from that hash code, it has not been reversible to identify the what is the actual password that is entered by the user. This is what we call as security, which is provided by the most of the service providers. So, for example, I given one particular example over here. If two computers is having a both hash and they have been entering the email, some address they given over there, and both end up with some kind of a fingerprint. That's what the address you can see it over as an hash function. So at any kind of situation using this hash function, we cannot able to identify the reverse to back the same kind of a email address whatever you get it. So this is the one background that you want to know before entering into how secure we are, especially in the name of a password. So make it this statement to be very clear in your mind. Maybe this is one to be very important. What social media and as well as the Google's has been taken over your password will be in the name of a hash. So that you should know very clearly. So each and everyone will have different kinds of an algorithm that where the security system will be used for it actually. So when you take about Facebook or when you take about Twitter or when you take about Instagram, every people will take different kinds of security precautions in what way they can able to know about or in what way they can able to identify different kinds of measures and as well as the different kinds of protocol that can able to apply to secure the information. So in this regard, actually, when you take about your Facebook, so what the Facebook will do it over this, and the Facebook will take about the encrypted of a message will be in the form of AES CBC, which what we called as an advanced encryption standard algorithm. So basically, everyone want to know what is the meaning of an advanced encryption standard algorithm. When you take about an encryption, what encryption we called as in the scrambling of data. Okay, so when you take about an encryption, the encryption can be taken in two aspects. One is a symmetric encryption as well as an asymmetric encryption. So when you go for a symmetric encryption, when you go for an advanced encryption standard algorithm, how much amounts of security is being provided, and how much amount of the years to crack over the given code, even if you attack the brute force attack, what we call as an you are applying all kind of challenges, you can applying all kind of effects to be made on the key or on the password to identify what is the exact password or the key that is being applied on the particular area. So AES represent about the advanced encryption. It is one of an encryption standard algorithm which is used by the Facebook, especially when the message is being passed, maybe your Facebook Messenger or whatever the chatting application which has been at the background of the Facebook. They are using AES, which what we call as an advanced encryption standard algorithm, and they are going for another one additional technique, which what we call as an CBC, which what we call as an cyber block chaining. So chaining represent about how the first block of information can able to take into the second block, and finally it has been jumbled or chaining will be made it so that the security aspect will be more will be given for the given message to be made it. And additional with this the authentication, that what I just told about your password or your user information or the two-way authentication that you get provided for the system. So the Facebook authentication is done using a short 256, which what we will call it as an secure hash function. 256 represent about how much amount of the digest or how much amount of the information as output that is being taken from the SHA, which what we call as a secure hashing algorithm. That's what the previous slide we discussed about how the hashing algorithm is being taken, because hashing is one of the important aspects, especially related to the security and in the social media. And we come to the next one, which is known as a Twitter. So when you go for the Twitter is also using some kind of an algorithm, which what we called as a Rivers Cipher 4. That the Rivers represent the author who has developed this particular algorithm. Especially, it has been preferred by the client for the encryption of for the communication. So there are how secure we have been taken that this kind of a security algorithm is being provided by the service providers or by the social medias. In what way they can able to make securely, they can able to make their customers to be avail in the right path actually. So when you take about WhatsApp, that is very important actually, because every day, every moment, every minute, we have been available with the WhatsApp actually. So even if you go for Facebook, that whatever the application like an advanced encryption standard algorithm, or it has been available with the secured hash algorithm. One thing you want to know about, there are more about 1 billion to around 2 billions of messages is been every day has been passing between every customers or every users actually. So think over it how much of security system is needed at the background of an Facebook, especially when there is an and as well as in the WhatsApp actually. So these are all the different peoples at the background of the WhatsApp. Those who have been taken as one of the initiatives in what way we are calling as an till now we are using taken WhatsApp with an upgradation version that is an application which is available at the WhatsApp. Even recently also we get the information that we want to update our WhatsApp with the latest versions actually. So why that kind of information is given by the WhatsApp? That is the question mark. So the basic question mark when I go investigation about that particular point, we get information that now WhatsApp is been getting an backup. Every day we get a backup on any moment of time. So now the backup is also taken by another one people with a name which what we call as in Google Cloud. So the advanced version of the WhatsApp is going to be connected. They are also getting a backup from the Google Cloud. It's a possibility is available actually. So when you go for the WhatsApp, what kind of a protocol is available at the background with the name what we call as an end-to-end protocol or an end-to-end encryption? Because everyone will ask about what is why we are going for WhatsApp, then they will tell you that my information is an end-to-end encryption actually. So what is the meaning of an end-to-end encryption? Who provided this end-to-end encryption? This end-to-end encryption will provided by the one particular protocol is called as a signal protocol. Not only WhatsApp is using this particular protocol, this protocol is mainly originated and this protocol is mainly originated for voice communication as well as for the voice chat. Not only the WhatsApp, it's been used by the Skype or it used by the Facebook Messenger. So Signal protocol is one of the common protocol which has been used by the WhatsApp for an end-to-end encryption to be at the background. And any kind of message that you have been passing over through the WhatsApp, it has been again coming with SHA. That what we have been already seen over in the different social media like Facebook or any other. So that particular situation, even the WhatsApp also using a SHA-256, which what we call as a secured as function 256, which is output that is being provided. And additional with this, at the left side, you can also see AES 256. That is for an encryption technology. They have been using an advanced encryption standard algorithm. And I have one basic document I will show you now how the advanced encryption standard algorithm is presently used over in India and especially in the banking system that what we are presently having with different kind of an online transactions and different method of online transaction that may be a NEFT or that may be an IMPS or that may be an interbanking transfer. So everywhere the advanced encryption standard algorithm is one of the secured standard algorithm which is being used in the presently in banking transactions. And followed by you can see about ECDH, which is one of the another algorithm is also combined with all this kind of people, which what we call as an elliptic curve and Diffie-Hellman. This is especially used for when you are going for sharing of an key between one party to another party. So all this kind of security is being needed, or in what way we will call it the statement, how secure are we? So make it the statement very clear. Here you get some kind of a basic knowledge. What are the different kinds of background that the WhatsApp is having, and in what way the WhatsApp is being secured over it, that we can able to do different kinds of security operations, as well as in what way we have been applied with different kinds of encryption algorithm and hashing technology, and what kind of a protocol it's been available at the background. So when you take about the Google, this is another one good way where in what way we have presently we have been everything we have been started to move from the data centers to the Google Cloud. So the Google Cloud is one of the different aspects that where Google uses several layers of encryptions to protect the customer data and it rests in the Google Cloud actually. So Google Cloud encrypt all the customers' content stored at the rest without any actions required for the customers. So data for storage is split into a chunks, and each chunks in the encrypted will have a unique data encryption keys actually. So all data stored in the Google Cloud is encrypted at the storage level using an again coming with the same word we called as an advanced encryption standard algorithm 256. So students make it in your particular point that all the encryption standard, especially advanced encryption standard algorithm 256, that is the output what we get in is that is a 256 bit. That is a presently one of the latest encryption algorithm which is being everly used over by the Google Cloud, or it may be in social media like a Facebook, or it may be like a WhatsApp, or any banking system. Everywhere they are using this advanced encryption standard algorithm. There is some background which is a strong thing that even it will take more number of years to crack over what is the exact key or what is the exact the information that you have been passing over inside the encryption standard. So Even the Google Cloud is also using over the encryption in the storage level with the name of encryption, which what we call as an advanced encryption standard algorithm, where it has been created and before that advanced encryption standard algorithm 256 has been developed. There is one basic level of advanced encryption standard algorithm is available, which what we call as an AES 128, which is available with 128 bit of key values. But now we are taken over to one step to be forwarded actually. So what is basically encryption? That everyone want to know that. So encryption is a process that takes legible data as an input, that it is often we called as a plain text, and transform into an output, which what we call as a cybertext. So that reveals little or more no information about your plain text. So when you are want to apply an encryption algorithm, that is we will go for an one kind of an encryption standard, that what we will call it as an advanced encryption standard algorithm. So when you take about why encryption helps to secure about the customer data, because encryption is a piece, or encryption what we call as an encryption is one of the piece of broader security, where encryptions add a layer of a defense in depth of the protecting the data. So when you especially go to the cloud will have different kinds of layers. That different kinds of layers in the cloud is being passed with the encryption. That we will see the next about the slide. That particular slide we can able to see each and everyone how the Google Cloud is being taken layer by layer, which is being available with the encryption. So this is what the Google Cloud is being taken about different layers, where the Google uses several layers of encryption to protect the data. So using multiple layers of the encryptions added redundant and as well as the data production, and allow us to select the optimal approach based on the application requirements. So especially here you can see about the platform where the database and file storages are protected by AES 256 or AES 128, and followed by the infrastructure, that is what your data will be having the storage. There also they are going for AES 256 of an encryption for your integrity level. So when you go for encryption at the storage system, especially to understand how specifically the cloud storage encryption works, it is important to understand how Google stores the customer data. That is very important actually. So generally, what happened in the sense when in the Google Cloud, when the customer data is being stored, the data is being broken into subfile, which Walt called as subfile chunks of storage, where each chunk can be divided into several gigabytes in size, where each chunk is being encrypted at the storage level with an individual encryption keys. So there are different kinds of keys is being available, where the Google encrypts data prior to be being written to the disk, because each and every layers they have been provided with different kinds of encryption. So what we can understand from this particular diagrammatical representation, that Google Cloud is been at every layer. That may be an application starting from the platform, or that may be from the infrastructure, or it may be from the hardware section at the bottom. Everywhere the encryption is being provided with one basic thing, what we will call it as an advanced encryption standard algorithm, with the output of a 256-bit key is being taken over in this particular situation. So think over how we are secure over and taking different kinds of aspects of security which is being provided by the Google Cloud, especially to avoid the different kinds of security. So not only to know about how secure we are, we also want to know about what kind of an attacks that we have been applied, or what kind of attacks that we have been want to face it very clearly. So that is the one of the specific things that every users or every customers want to know the information, that in what way we can able to know about what kind of an attack is going to be available in our network. So we want to be aware of that particular network, and not only to be aware of that network, we also want to know how to avoid that kind of network. So that is very important. So when you take that particular one, there are top, what are the top cyber threats available over in especially in this pandemic situation. The number one cyber threats available in the present situation is man in the middle attack. So this is a type of a cyber attack happens when an hacker introduce himself or herself between your network connection and a server. So this has been happened between the client server communication, where the cyber attacks happen and introduce where the network connection within the server. And second one we will call as phishing, where the attacks, where cyber terrorism attackers and send you the fraudulent emails or clickable links. This will be mostly happen over in the network actually. And some kind of attacks we will call as a drive-by attacks, where cyber terrorists frequently use drive-by attacks to spread the malware. They target insecure websites. There are different kinds of websites they identified which are insecure. Based on that website, they will able to attack the information actually. And another kind of informations or another kind of attacks which is presently in this particular 2021, and which is mostly that every system want to be learned. That is another one we call as an botnet attacks. It is a collection of system networks which attackers have injected malware actually. So that is a very one of the dangerous attacks to be made. And especially when you talk about how secure we are, especially in the social media. So there is one kind of attacks which is being available, which what we call as a social engineering attack. So this cyber attacks includes email phishing, which is arguably the most common type of social engineering cyber attacks actually. And another one thing, the database is very important, that where your credential information or your crucial information are stored over there, and your SQL injection attacks, which means that SQL which represent about the structured query language, where SQL injection cyber terrorism attacks happens when the cyber terrorists inject a malicious code in the SQL server. So these are all the different kinds of attacks to be available, not only being stopped with that particular one. That basic attack with what called as in password attacks, where the cyber terrorists leverage on password authentication mechanism to gain access to the user information. So there are different kinds of aspects that where this kind of attacks to be made, or that may be a denial of services attack, where it's one of the most widespread types of cyber attacks, which is done by making a resource unavailable to the user. So this is unbearable actually, because what is a resource to be providable, that to be not to be taken to the user, so that will be taken by the denial of services. And there are some kind of attacks with what we call as in crypto jacking attacks, which represent the target the bandwidth of the user. So this is especially crucially want to know by an organization in what way the bandwidth is being reduced if there isn't any kind of issues available in the network. So crypto jacking attacks target the bandwidth of a user's computers and processing power to mine the cryptocurrencies actually. And another most very important attack, which is especially opening the online transaction, which what we call as an eavesdropping attacks. So eavesdropping attacks, which where the cyber threats occurs when attackers interrupt the users and as well as an interrupt traffic. And so these are all the different kinds of attacks that everyone want to know how secure we want to be. Not only we want to be in the situation like how secure we are. At the same time, we also want to know about what are the different kinds of attacks to be made. From that, how we can able to have a product. So that is also one of the security measures that we are going to take on over here actually. So before going to end of the session, that I will have some of the document to prove out how the Indian governments and Indian banking system using what kind of an encryption algorithm, especially in the Indian bank, that may be an Indian bank or that may be a state bank of an India, and what the central banking of India. So we will show some kind of a proof for that. In what way the recently I get one circular from the net that will show you about what is the security system that is initially carried out and now presently what is available. So here you get the information that NPCI, which what we called as a National Payment Corporation of India. So this is one of the government aspect, which is one of the part of Reserve Bank of India, and they have been come with one particular information that you can able to see about what the Indian banks has been using over it. So this is to be made it. Currently, data encryption standard, it is one of the encryption's old standard algorithm, which has been used for the data transmission between the banks and the that what we called as an NPCS, which what we called as an that especially which will take about the information about the National Payment Corporation of in India. So it is used for the better security, and in what way they have been decided to migrate it to the. So they given one particular very specific point that it has been decided to implement. They decided to implement the advanced encryption standard algorithm, okay, and with the values which has been taken over. So we want to check and changes in the banking system, that is encryption and decryption algorithm which has been available. So what I want to conclude from this presentation, that now presently in the banking system, especially in India as well as maybe in some part of the country, they have been specifically going for one kind of an encryption algorithm which is coming under the term known as an advanced encryption standard algorithm with two variants. One is AES 128 is an output, and as well as an AES 256 is another output of an encryption method which secure all our online transaction information, especially in this digital transformation. Actually, so I thank for you to make this opportunity to be in this part of this program, and which makes me to know about the different kinds of aspects and different kind of technology updation that this particular platform is given for us. So, for more visit, you can go for arnai.org/STEM to know about different kinds of topics that the students as well as the faculty will talk about this particular session. So, thank you to be the part of this particular program. So now I call upon Ms. Abhirami from Final Year CSC to take over the session on blockchain.
Good morning, everyone. Warmly welcome to Technical STEM 16.0. Let us introduce myself. I am Abhirami, final year CSC. I am here today to talk you about open source technology, which is offers an alternative to traditional intermediator for transfer of cryptocurrency Bitcoin. It's called blockchain technology. It is which is a topic today. First, we will see the objective. Abstract. What is blockchain technology? Why blockchain technology? How work are done? Components of blockchain technology. Needs of blockchain technology. Advance of blockchain technology. Application of blockchain technology. Demo conclusion. Abstract. Blockchain is a public ledger to which everyone access, but without control authority having a control. It is enable individual and companies to collaborate with trust and transparency. Blockchain is a technology that is developed using a combination of various techniques such as mathematics, algorithm, cryptography, economic models, and so on. What is blockchain technology? Blockchain is a sign of block which contain information. It is a system of recording information in a way that make it difficult or impossible to change, hack or cheat the system. It is defined as a decentralized distributed ledger that record the provenance of a digital aspect. Why blockchain technology? Blockchain is a better, safer way to record activity and keep data fresh while maintaining a record of its history. It is used a digital signature feature to conduct fraud-free transition, make it impossible to corrupt, to change the data of individual by other user without specific digital signature. It can generate systematic action, even payments and automatically. The data cannot corrupt by anyone or accidentally deleted. How work are done. Each block contains some data, hash of a block and previous blockchain. The data that is stored inside the block depends on a type of blockchain. Let us consider the example of Bitcoin. First, a user requests for transition. A separate foreign representing the transition is created. The blockchain is a broadcaster to all nodes of a network. All nodes validity and block the transition. The block is then added to a chain. Then the transition get verified and executed. Components of blockchain. Node. Node is a user or computer within a blockchain. Transition. Transition is the smallest building block of a blockchain system. Block. Block is a data structure used for keeping a separate transition which is a distributor to all nodes in network. Chain. Chain is a sequence of block in a specific order. Miners is a specific nodes which perform the block verification process of your rules and carry out a blockchain operation. Blockchain structure. Consortium blockchain. Consortium blockchain is a blockchain where the process is controlled by pre-selected set of nodes. Semi-private blockchain. Semi-private blockchain is a run by single company who grant access to any user who qualify, and they typically target business to business. Private blockchain. Private blockchain is one where permission to kept to one organization. Permission may be public or restricted to certain parties. Public blockchain. Public blockchain is a blockchain that anyone in a world can read, send transition to, and accept to see them include if they are valid, and anyone can participate in census process. The process for determining what blocks get added to the chain and why current state is a blockchain is fully centralized. Needs of blockchain. Blockchain technology can be used to build applications on which multiple parties can transact directly through peer-to-peer network without the need of a central authority to verify the transition. Transition always timestamp and up to data. Blockchain can enable more transparent and accurate end-to-end tracking. Blockchain significantly reduce the cost by reducing the transition cost. Blockchain produces a trusted transition by cryptography. Each transition is signed with a private key and then verified with a public key. If transition data change, the signature becomes invalid. There will be a no third party involvement. Advantage: transparency. Transparency user or developers have opportunity to modify it as they see fit. This makes blockchain particularly secure technology. Security: all transition will be digitally timestamped with a cryptography hash code. A unique 64-digit alphanumeric signature is record corresponding to every single transition. Automation: transition can even be automated with smart track which increase your efficiency and speed of the process. Autonomy: there is a no need for central destination making body. Client accountability: each blockchain participant have right and obligation with regard to blockchain community. In banking sector, blockchain technology eliminate the paperwork and reduce the transition time. Blockchain has a wide range of application in healthcare. The facilities, the secure transference of patient medical records, manage the medicine supply chain and healthcare research, unlock generic codes. Blockchain inherent system of trust make it is ident technology for real estate. Blockchain built trust in a IoT data. Blockchain can provide increased supply chain transparency as well as reduce cost and risk across the supply chain. In government center, blockchain reduce the redundancy, streamline process, decrease order, increase the security and ensure the data integrity. Blockchain offer important cyber security benefits such as reducing cyber attacks. Blockchain based on social media platform including Mind, Solar, Tube, etc. Example: and specific cryptographic hash function used in many blockchain implementation is a secure hash algorithm. Shortly, it is called SHA, which is an output size 256 bit. Each block contains some data, hash of a block and hash of the block. The data that is stored inside the block depends on a type of blockchain. Each data value has unique hash value. Let me explain the table content in demo. For example, you enter the value 1, it displays the other hash function. That is, if you enter the data, every time display a unique hash function. Conclusion: blockchain technology is revolutionary. Will make life simpler and safer. The way personal information is stored, unpredictable digital leaders make fraud, hacking, data theft, and information loss. Thank you, sir. Give me this opportunity.
Thank you, Abhirami, for giving the brief about the blockchain. Let me go to the next step that we can give some more demonstration for the next session, maybe in the forthcoming STEM program. Maybe one step forwarded to the blockchain. So I will take this particular presentation as a brief note about the basic part of a blockchain or the basic structure that what we can learn from the blockchain. So for further improvement in this, you can able to go for one step forwarded for any basic level of implementation by using some programming languages or at least any like demo, that the simple demo that you've given, and make some additional demos maybe in future that will be given more knowledge in the blockchain. So thank you, Abhirami, for giving this presentation. Now I call upon Ms. Hema Darshani from 3rd year CSE to give the topic on Li-Fi.
Good morning to everyone. It's my immense pleasure to welcome you all. Let me introduce myself. I'm Hema Darshani from 3rd year Department of CSE. In this session, we are going to see problems of Wi-Fi wireless communication system. What is Li-Fi? Working principle, advantages, applications of Li-Fi. What is the problem of using wireless communication system and what is spectrum crunch? Transfer data from one place to another is one of the most important day-to-day activities. The current wireless network that connect us to internet are very slow when multiple devices are connected. As the number of devices that access the internet increases, the fixed bandwidth available makes it more and more difficult to enjoy high data rates and connect to a secure network. Nowadays, everyone is interested in using his mobile phones, laptops to communicate with each people. And this technology is widely used in public areas like home, hotels and airports by people. Also, the time usage of wireless system is increasing exponentially every year, but the capacity is going down due to limitation of radio frequency resources. So we are going to suffer from severe problem. Despite continuous improvements in wireless communication systems, example 3G, 4G, etc., this limitation in bandwidth can't support the growth in demand for high data rates and large number of communication systems within the bandwidth between 300 kHz and 4 GHz, that is known as spectrum crunch. Nowadays, with the rapid growth of wireless communications, the problem of using spectrum efficiently has become more important. So, how we can solve this? Many solutions have been proposed to solve this issue. One of the solution is the usage of visible light frequencies to send data. These frequencies are already free and unused. Light fidelity is a new short-range wireless communication technology which provides the connectivity within a local network by using light-emitting diodes to transmit data depending on light illumination properties. Li-Fi operates high-speed wireless communication based on the principle of visible light communication. The, the VLC standardization process is conducted within IEEE Wireless Personal Area Networks Working Group. VLC's future is providing wide bandwidth. It is about 10,000 times greater bandwidth compared to the usage of the RF frequencies. What is Li-Fi? Li-Fi is an abbreviation of light fidelity, which is suitable for data transmission via LEDs by illumination. It uses the visible light, a part of the electromagnetic spectrum that is still not greatly utilized. Instead of RF part, it holds the key to solving challenges faced by 5G. So, history of Li-Fi. The term was first used by Professor Harald Haas from University of Edinburgh, United Kingdom, in his TED Global Talk in 2011. Li-Fi ideas rates as one of 50 best inventions of 2011 on TED World site on the internet. How Li-Fi works. Li-Fi technology is implemented using LED light bulbs applying a constant current. However, by fast variations of current, the light output can be made to vary at extremely high speeds. If the light is on, it transmits digital 1, otherwise, it transmits digital 0. This shows the working principle of Li-Fi system for data transmission. It can be done by single LED or multi LED. On the receiver side, there is a photo detector which converts this light into electrical signals, and it will give the electric signal to the device connected to it. Voltage regulator and level shifter circuits are used on both sides to convert or maintain a voltage level between transmitter and receiver. These are the major difference between Li-Fi and Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi stands for wireless fidelity and Li-Fi stands for light fidelity. Wi-Fi transmits data using radio waves using Wi-Fi router. Li-Fi transmits data using light signals used LED bulbs. Wi-Fi transfer speed range from 150 megabits per second to 2 gigabits per second. Wi-Fi transmit speed is about 1 gigabits. Wi-Fi coverage area is up to 30 meters and Wi-Fi coverage area is up to 10 meters. Advantages of using Wi-Fi. It gives high data speed. Efficiency. Here is the advantage is using Wi-Fi. The efficiency of each radio station is just 5% due to the fact that most of the energy is used for the cooling system in base of the radio station. Li-Fi is highly efficient because LED consumes less energy. It is effective in terms of low cost, low required energy, and for various environment. Security. If you can't see the light, you can't access the data because of the signal will not travel through the walls. Capacity. Any lighting device like car, ceiling lights, street lamps, etc. are used as a hotspot. It means that any light spread internet using VLC, which helps us to lower cost architecture for a hotspot. Applications. These are the applications of Wi-Fi technology. Underwater communication. Using radio frequency signals is impractical due to strong signal absorption in water. Wi-Fi provides a solution for short-range communications. Submarines could use their headlamps to communicate with each other. Airways. We have to switch off mobiles in aircrafts to prevent overlapping of mobile phone signals with navigation and control signals used by aircraft. Wi-Fi can be safely used on planes because it does not interfere with the radio frequency. Since its data is present where light is present, we can use the lights above the seats in the plane as hotspot. Blind indoor navigation system. Indoor navigation system is convenient for everyone and it is especially indispensable for the visually impaired. We proposed such a navigation system for the visually impaired. LED light emits visible light location data and an embedded system or smartphone with a visible light receiver which receives the data. The embedded system or smartphone calculates the optimal path to a destination and speaks to the visually impaired through a headphone. Disaster management. Wi-Fi can be used as a powerful means of communication at times of disaster like earthquake. So the future scope of Wi-Fi is, unlike Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi does not cause interference in data transmission for which it can be used in sensitive areas. Wi-Fi can be technology for the where data for laptops, smartphones, and tablets will be transmitted through the light in a room. Let's see some working principles of Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi uses visible light communication between 400 and 800 terahertz. Data is transmitted by modulating the light's intensity in LED bulb. The signal is received by a photosensitive detector and converted into electronic form. The modulation in the LED bulb takes place so fast that it is not visible to the human eye. Because LED bulbs are semiconductor devices, the current and hence the optical output can be modulated at extremely high speed. Here are some applications of Wi-Fi. Freeing up spectrum. If traffic from radio spectrum is diverted to Wi-Fi, already clogged cellular networks will be relieved of burden. Smart lighting. Street lamps can be used to provide Wi-Fi hotspots. Hospitals. Wi-Fi does not result in any electromagnetic interference and will not interfere with medical equipment. Transportation. Wi-Fi can be used for vehicle-to-vehicle and vehicle-to-roadside communication for road safety and traffic management. Here are some of the disadvantages. Light cannot pass through walls, so mobility is an issue. Wi-Fi cannot be achieved without a light source.
Conclusion. Thus, if Wi-Fi technology can be put into practical use, every bulb can be used as an alternative to Wi-Fi hotspots. It provides simple, faster, and efficient wireless data communication. Wi-Fi will make us to proceed towards to the cleaner, greener, safer, and bright future. Thank you. Thank you for all, and thank you, sir, for giving this opportunity to me.
Thank you, Hemadarshini, for giving the brief about the Wi-Fi. Let's take it one step forward to the Wi-Fi that it is my suggestion actually. Let's know what is the present status of the Wi-Fi and where it has been implemented and what way the projection of the Wi-Fi is being now turned to different kinds of interpretation. Let's know that particular one so that it is easy for you when you are going to take some kind of project like a mini project or if we go for any pilot project, we can get some kind of idea. And maybe this will be one of the supportive, especially when you are having an experience that you have done with some kind of projects, especially in the Ideathon or Arunai. So make some kind of initiative on that particular aspect. and come forwarded for the forthcoming session with different inputs, especially on this particular aspect. Thank you, Hema Darshini. And now I call
Thank you, sir.
Miss, yeah, thank you. So now I call Miss Vijay Ragini from second year CSE to take over the session on communication network design.
Good morning to everyone present here. I am Vijay Ragini from second year CSE department. Today I am going to explain about the topic communication network design. The content we are going to see in today's presentations are what is communication network design, how does communication helps in our daily life, flowchart, and some examples and futures. Limited network communication or internet working defines a set of protocols that allow application programs to talk with each other without regard to the hardware and operating systems where they are run. Communication network is method of user communication that employs to person valuable information. To employ communication network, some of all mean and methods are organized. Network. What is communication network design? Network design is the interactive process in which the designer examines user needs, develops a initial set of technology designs, access their costs, and they revisit the needs analysis until the final network design emerges. How does communication helps in our daily life? Communication is most important and it plays important role in human life. It is important to sharing out one's thought and feeling to live a fuller and happier life. The most we communicate, the less we suffer, and the better we feel about everything around. This network help in exchange of information and knowledge and to develop relationship. It is necessary to learn the art of effective communication to put across one's point well. As a student, good communication assimilate more from the learning process by empowering them to ask relevant questions and discuss doubts. Flowchart. In this flowchart, the network design, the communication network is of two parts as external and internal communication. This internal communication further divided into diagonal, vertical, and horizontal. Further, vertical is classified into downloads and upload. Let one by one we see. Internal communication. The function responsible for effective communication among participants within an organization. Internal communication is made by a group of processes that are responsible for effective information circulation and collaboration between the participant in an organization. External communication. External communication is the transmission of information between two organizations. It also occurs between a business business and other persons in the exterior to the company. Vertical communication is a form of communication that occurs between two individuals who are at different position of hierarchy within the same organization. It follows a linear system where information flows from one individual to another as per their titles. Diagonal communication refers to communication that crosses both level and functions or department where staff members from different departments is irrespective of their reporting relationship interact with one another within the organization. Horizontal communication, also called lateral communication, involves the flow of message between individual and the group on the same level of an organization. Downward vertical communication. It is when information and message flow through an organization formal chain of command or hierarchical structure. Vertical communication. Information moving from lower level employees to higher level employees is upward communication. Some, e- some examples of this communication network is our vertical network, circuit network, chain network, will network, um, star network. Futures. The network design of communication is featured by file sharing, backup and rollback is easy. Security, scalability and reliability software and hardware sharing. Limitations. Network cabling and file surveyors can be expensive limitations. Training and network manager usually manage large network applications. Conclusion. The challenge to rolling out of system of requirement for next generation of mobile cellular system. The cellular system of 2G, 3G and 4G or wireless communications are designed for person to person communication. Thank you.
Vijay Ragini, for your startup of your communication network design, especially from the second year. So I congratulate your effort which has been made it. But we need some professional output which is needed, especially when you come to this kind of platform. So anyway, one thing what I start up of the session as the ending of the one year of starting of the Center of Skill Development, what I just told, think positive, be positive, and speak positive. So as the positive attitude brings much gratitude for us actually. So Vijay Dharani, one basic thing I want to share with you. You have given a good effort on your the presentation, whatever you started over it. But while coming for the next session or when the opportunities knocks your door, so that particular moment of time, take some good initiatives, especially to get the different kinds of platforms and make it this particular presentation to be keep it and make some kind of corrections if it is needed for the presentation and trying to come with a, good another any kind of a presentation to be start up with like a demo so that will be given a better idea for each and every student those who are able to view this particular your speech as well as the video which has been uploaded in the channel of STEM. So that will give an add-on for you and as well as your communication. So today the three participants from the student side that is Ms. Abhirami as well as Ms. Hema Darshani and as well as Ms. Vijay Ragani has given a good output for the program and maybe this platform I think there is some kind of initiatives and as well as the knowledge wise the students have been upgradation. So I've been happy on that particular thing that what we called it as an every pain give a lesson and every lesson change a person. So this particular platform and this particular STEM program will definitely change a person. So I thanks all the students and as well as the faculty to be the part of this program. Shortly, we will see it on the forthcoming sessions with the STEM with different kinds of questions. Thank you, students.